Okay, you're gonna have to stick with me for this video. Insider trading and why we could see US senators moving towards a pro-cryptocurrency stance. Those that have never invested before now no longer can get into traditional markets. Well, Bitcoin, ETFs, and something very interesting has just happened that may be paving the way to very much seeing Nancy Pelosi buy Bitcoin. I said it was wild. Hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. We're gonna dive deep into what the hell is going on and why Bitcoin could be about to skyrocket. So it's all come out recently, everything that I guess most of us knew in the digital market, that, well, those in power generally look after themselves. And it was released that Nancy Pelosi had a humongous net worth. And in fact, her portfolio outperformed even Warren Buffett's Berkshire Hathaway. Now, listen to what Caroline Levitt had to say when she was asked specifically about this.
Have you talked with the president at his position on the stock trading ban bill before Congress? He obviously had pretty loaded comments about Senator Hawley. There's some reporting that they've since spoken. What is his position on the current status of that bill?
The president has spoken to Senator Hawley, who called him, and the president took that call. As the president said in the Roosevelt Room yesterday, conceptually, he of course supports the idea of ensuring that members of Congress and United States senators who are here for public service cannot enrich themselves. And the reason that this idea to put a ban on stock trading for members of Congress is even a thing is because of Nancy Pelosi. I mean, she is rightfully criticized because she makes, I think, $174,000 a year, yet she has a net worth of approximately $413 million. In 2024, Nancy Pelosi's stock portfolio, this was a fascinating statistic to me, grew 70% in 1 year in 2024, and her portfolio outperformed every single large hedge fund in that same year, and even more than doubled the returns of Warren Buffett's Berkshire Hathaway. So I think the president stands with the American people on this. He doesn't want to see people like Nancy Pelosi enriching themselves off of public service and ripping off their constituents in the process. As for the mechanics of the legislation and how it will move forward, the White House continues to be in discussions with our friends on Capitol Hill.
But she isn't on her own. There is many over there in the US Senate that, well, have simply lined their pockets. Rick Scott, for example, $174K a year, has an estimated net worth of between $296 million and potentially even as high as $550 million. Chuck Schumer, estimated around $30 million. Mitch McConnell, $52 million. And obviously Pelosi, $285 million. A massive accumulation while in office, using taxpayers, or more importantly, just your money or insider trading to get there. The Pelosi Act will stop that. So I know what you're thinking. Well, hold on a minute, 2-Bit. What the hell has this got to do with Bitcoin? You talk about cryptocurrency and you're talking about Nancy Pelosi. Well, it's all playing out to something very interesting. Don't forget, we are expecting a new Fed chair, a Trump appointee that could bring interest rates down, supporting tax cuts, and more importantly, making even markets more crazy bullish. But recently, we now have an interesting approval from the SEC. The Nasdaq's ISE rule change is going to allow increasing position limits for options on 4 Bitcoin ETFs, allowing for higher aggregated limits and flex option tradings. This is a big deal. Those are things like Grayscale's Bitcoin Mini Trust, as well as Bitwise and the iShares Bitcoin Trust, which may explain why we saw some selling over the course of the last 24 hours. If you haven't seen that video, definitely get ready because it's going to be pretty wild. But what does this allow to do? Well, you could now start to see people with big pockets that could no longer invest in the traditional markets start to come into Bitcoin. They know that this is the next big playground. For example, public Bitcoin Treasury companies are now stepping up with enormous buys amid a $552 million purchasing, while the 1.25 billion ETF outflows over the course of the last week. So we now know publicly listed companies, and it's important to reference this. Publicly listed companies mean they are traded on the stock market, which traditionally therefore means people like Pelosi could have been invested in them. But no, now they're going to be looking at how do they actually get into these funds and get involved in it. I think this is going to be the next playground that comes in, especially when you look at what's going on, staking portfolios, as well as, more importantly, like we've just announced here, the increase in the limits can be over there. All could absolutely align to seeing US senators now getting into the digital asset market. Again, now we're seeing the Pelosi Act come in. Very, very interesting indeed. And the markets, well, the markets look like they're set for another big rally. And in fact, if Pelosi chucks some of her net worth in, we're all going to the freaking moon. The last one to get will be Elizabeth Warren, because I'm sure she's up to no good as well. But until proven broken, this is still the most reliable long-term Bitcoin chart. Don't fight the cycle, just ride it. Predictions into the last part of this, in excess of, well, $200,000. We've talked about this prior before. So a little bit of an interesting video. I think in one sentiment, we could actually see US senators now start to look at other ways in which they can diversify their portfolios without going into the traditional markets. Well, guess where that could be? ETFs, and could probably return as lucrative as what we've seen in that traditional market. And I think we're going to start to see a shift. They are going to want to go somewhere. And I think we're going to see their capital rotate into cryptocurrency, especially with all of those things coming up very, very recently. So let me know what you think in the comments about Pelosi and the Pelosi Act. If you've been in digital currency for long enough, you know this has been a meme for the longest time. So I thought I'd just break it down for you while at the same time give you some breaking news coming out of the SEC as well. So lots of bullish stuff to talk about. As always, we break it down here on the channel every day, keeping your portfolio not quite to the same accelerated growth as Pelosi's, but not far behind. Until next time, thanks for watching. I'll see you soon.